welcome on this podium, Crystal.
Good evening. Thank you for the introduction, Pepe. I'm very honored to be here with you today and to talk about building a brand. Now, I'll start by being honest. I started on radio when I was at university. My very first job was at the age of 15 as a swimming instructor. And every year, I'd have this job or that job or the other job. But at some point in school, I knew that I wanted to be on TV. Funny that I'm really mostly on radio though. Well, I'm told this might be headhunting because you're asking if you apply or you headhunted. But I met some friends who were working at the radio station I'm working at now. That's 88.2 Sanyo FM. Who knows 88.2 Sanyo FM? Yeah. So they were working there and they invited me and two of my roommates to just go in and pretend to be an American girl group. So we, on air, on radio. So we rocked up, we put on weird accents, like, y'all, you know, and we just had fun. We just had fun. We're like, okay, this is our chance to talk on radio, and that's what we did. And then after that, I was called back, asked to do a voice test, and then I was given a job. So that's how I started on radio. Now, thank you. Now, I also want to be honest. When we talk about building a brand, and now what I understand about being a brand, again, back then, I knew nothing about it. All I knew was I was loving what I was doing. I had the best job in the world, and I still believe I have the best job in the world. I love what I do. I loved, also one nice thing about it that, you know, when you're on radio, even on a Monday, you can rock up in little shorts or in jeans. No one is going to see you because you're hidden behind the microphone. And that's how I started out. But then things started to change when I was given my first opportunity to host an event. This was a Sanyo FM event. And someone said to me, there's something there. You're very good, not only in the studio when you're holding a microphone, but even when you're out there talking to people. And then when I got that information, I realized there are few things that I have to change. The happy-go-lucky girl who's always in t-shirts and little jean shorts, I'm like, if I want someone to pay me to actually hold a microphone and represent them on a stage, whatever stage, I needed to change, number one, my appearance. So step one, how you present yourself is very important. You don't have to wear a ball gown. Some people say if you have a meeting or an interview, even if it's for an internship, you should look decent. Every day you step out of your home, even if it's a Sunday, unless you're really just walking down to the shop to buy, I don't know, a matchbox, you should look somewhat decent because you don't know who you're going to meet and who you're going to make that first impression on. Once you make a first impression, that's it. There's no getting it back. So that was the first step for me. If I had to go for meetings, if I had to see clients, I had to think about how I presented myself. And then I started thinking, if I'm going to become a professional MC, I have to think about my client and best represent them. So I would go for a meeting to MC an event, and I'd ask the client, what are your colors? They'll be like, oh, our colors. Oh, the logo is blue and yellow. And I'd go out of my way to wear the colors. And I found with every client I worked with every company, they appreciated that little extra effort. But it started with, number one, how did I present myself so that they had confidence in me? Another thing is consistency. I don't think there's anything you can be good at in this life unless you are consistent at it. Some people have a natural talent, but there are people with natural talent who don't do well. And there are people with much less, but who do well because they consistently apply themselves to that thing. I've been on radio, Sanyo FM, from university for 18 years now. That's a long time. At the same radio station, by the way. People always come to me and say, but Krista, how have you stayed on Sanyo FM for all these years? But that's because I looked at the platform that allowed me to be consistent in one way, and that is to share my story and to share it in my own way on air. Also, I've been blessed to do different things. I've been blessed to do TV. I've been blessed to do public relations on the side. I've been blessed to stand here right now and talk to you, all these different things. But consistency is important. Now, how are you able to be consistent? By being yourself. There are too many people we meet, whether it's at the workplace, whether it's at a wedding or an event, and something is off about them. You know that feeling? You know that feeling when you're like, they're telling you these big, long stories, and you're like, I don't know about that. You need to be consistent and you need to be yourself because you don't want to be caught in a lie. Because when you're caught in a lie and someone doubts who you are, then after that, they're pretty much going to doubt everything else that comes from you. And once you lose that trust and that confidence, because as we all know, trust is something difficult to build, when it's gone, it's poof, and you have to start from scratch. Now, also in building a brand, you have to think about who you work with. This is very important. When we're coming up in life, especially when you're looking for new opportunities, when you're young, you're looking for everything that can, pay the bills. And it can be a tricky one because sometimes you might compromise your integrity. I remember a few years into working on radio, I had started meeting all the different musicians and artists. I understood a lot of people in that industry. And one of the suggestions that came to me was for me to be in a music video. So at the time I thought, this might be exciting. But yeah, we're going to have this music video and it's going to be at the poolside. All the girls are going to be wearing bikinis and, we're having a party. And I was tempted for a little bit, but then I stopped and I asked myself, wait, in 10 years' time, would I be happy with this? Seeing myself on TV in a bikini, I know that it's okay for some other people, but for me personally, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was also approached to be the face of a condoms brand. Why are you laughing? Why is that funny? There's nothing wrong with condoms. Nothing wrong with condoms. In fact, if you're sexually active, please make sure you have them, unless you're in the right kind of relationship where you don't need them, but please, you have to be responsible. You only have one life and you affect other people with the decisions you make. So there's nothing wrong with condoms. But again, I asked myself, okay, do I see myself as the face of a brand of condoms on a billboard, on different posters, a campaign that would run countrywide? And that was a tough decision a little bit because the money was sweet. The money was quite sweet. But again, I had to say, okay, who do I want to be? And will I be comfortable with this decision in the next few years? So you also have to be conscious about the decisions you make. And that takes me to the point, I think to build a brand, you have to think long term. Too many people make decisions short term, what they're going to get right now, what situation they're in right now. But if you are working to be something, again, to be consistent, you have to think about long term. A question that has been asked, sometimes you watch all these videos and they seem very deep and you're like, But a question that keeps being asked is, if you were to die today, what do you think you would be remembered for? Now, one of the things I decided a long time ago was I like to listen to people. I like to tell stories, and I like to have good conversations. This would happen in the office, whether I'm in the kitchen. It would happen on the roadside, talking to the lady who sells maize. I really like roasted maize, for the record. Oh, it's heavenly. We'd talk, it might be a driver. I've realized there are all these different stories, and I love to listen to these stories. I love to talk to people. So how could I translate that? And I incorporated that into who I am, which is why I'm able to talk to all kinds of people and to even have a YouTube channel now where I have all these amazing conversations with amazing people, because I truly believe that everyone has a story. So also to build a brand, you might be fantastic at what you do. I liked the story about Coca-Cola. You might be fantastic about what you do, but if just you know it in your heart of hearts that, oh, I'm an amazing singer, or an amazing graphic designer, but you don't put yourself or your work out there, how will anyone ever know? So to be a brand, to build a brand, you have to put yourself out there. Personally, I discovered that I had a platform of radio that I loved and was good at. I started working on television. I enjoyed the stage as an MC. And all these different things came to the point where I was comfortable putting myself out there. Also another thing, and a lot of people struggle with this, is allowing yourself to shine. Sometimes you're simply modest, or you're simply shy, or maybe you've heard too many people tell you you're just not that good. But when you have an opportunity to really do your best and make a difference, you need to grab it and put your all into it. So allow yourself to shine and put yourself out there. And those are some of the things that I've done to be a brand. But also, and I think this one is so important, to be positive. There's so many people in life who drain the energy out of you. Do you know anyone who's always complaining? Do you know people like that? You know, you meet them and you say, hi, how are you? They're like, but today, you know, I have problems, Crystal, I have problems. And then before you know it, it's okay if it's a genuine situation, but then tomorrow, I'm there. I don't know. The next day, you know, I'm not feeling well, my back, I don't know what. Gosh, people like that drain the life out of you. And then you find that you start to avoid those people, right? You see them coming and you're like, you go in the opposite direction. So you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person people avoid. You don't want to be that person who is always saying, it's not going to work. That can't happen. So you also have to be very careful about the words that you use. There are words that you've heard this, can't, won't, things like that. You have to kind of just get rid of them, because they translate from you to other people and how you make them feel. Because I truly believe people wanting to interact with you is also based on how you make them feel. So to build a brand, I've really tried to be as positive as possible, to be a person who is easy to work with in all the different situations. So people are not running away from me when they think, yeah, Crystal, no. Let's go in the opposite direction. So Pepe asked me to talk about the things that I've done to build my brand. And yes, I hope that has helped you. So thank you very much.
A better hand clap for Crystal.
Thank you very much.